We'll go ahead and get started. There will probably be others joining us, but let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon to all. How are you? Sawubona, Tumelang, Habari Gani. Thank you for joining the Diverse Black Africa launch and virtual information session. We are happy to have you in this space today. My name is Denise Troutman. I will serve as your moderator today. At MSU, I am the Vice President for Black Faculty, Staff, and Administrators Association, and I am an Associate Professor in the Departments of Writing, Rhetoric, and American Cultures, and Linguistics, Languages, and Cultures. The purpose of the DBA program is to strengthen collaboration between Black African diaspora, MSU faculty, academic staff, and administrators, and Black colleagues at African universities. We have a robust program slated for today, so let's get started with 3 hearty welcomes from 3 different spaces, beginning with Dave Witherspoon, Associate Provost of Enrollment and Academic Strategic Planning, Michigan State University. Dr. Witherspoon.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for that introduction, Dr. Troutman. Provost Woodruff sends her best regards and looks forward to the positive impacts this initiative will have on improving the culture on our campus. This is my 23rd year at Michigan State, and I must say this is long overdue. I'm honored to offer welcome remarks for the inaugural Diverse Black Africa Collaborative. Thank you, Dr. Maletti, for writing the proposal and for the BFSAA leadership for convening this meeting and promoting the discussions and strategies for improving collaboration among the diverse groups within the diaspora. This hits home for me. Many of you know that I'm from a small abolitionist town in southwestern Michigan, and that was a major node for the Underground Railroad. My family's history encompasses almost 200 years of inhabiting that area. There are many stories that have yet to be told about the diverse backgrounds and experiences of African Americans. On the other hand, most of my academic work as an agriculture economist has been in sub-Saharan Africa and the Caribbean. I've completed policy and food supply chain research and commercial projects in more than half of sub-Saharan African countries. What has always fascinated me is how much diversity within the continent as well as within each country exists. Closer to home, I have family on 2 continents. My wife of 31 years is originally from Durban, South Africa. We met at Penn State University, which had a fairly tight-knit integrated Black graduate student population, partly because there was a small population of people of color. And also many other nieces and nephews from other parts of Africa and the Caribbean. All this, so I live this diaspora and look forward to a broad discussion and the building of a stronger, diverse Black community. The Provost Office is in full support of the proposal's objectives to promote and increase visibility of MSU's African partnership engagement of Black African diaspora faculty and academic staff at MSU, to nurture joint research, outreach, and teaching, to establish a community of practice that supports inclusive excellence and career advancement of Black African diaspora faculty and academic staff at MSU. These objectives directly support the faculty and staff success objectives outlined in the university's strategic plan. Those objectives, along with student success, are about people and about changing the culture at MSU. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and also thank you for what I anticipate as having some positive impacts on our culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Witherspoon, for acknowledging our diverse backgrounds and our diasporic connections. I'm sure everybody receives that enthusiastic welcome. Next, Professor Tawanna Kupe, Vice Chancellor, University of Pretoria, and Chair of the AAP Advisory Board, will offer words of welcome. Dr. Kupe.
Thank you, Dr. Troutman, for your introduction, and nice warm day here. I hope it is not too cold over there. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the AAP management team for inviting me to provide some welcome remarks in my capacity as the chairperson of the AAP Advisory Board at the launch of this very important project. I'm speaking on behalf of the African research community that will partner with Black academics at MSU in these programs. It is not lost to me on the significance of me providing these remarks, as within South Africa, as within the South African higher education system, we have our own historical challenges around this very issue. Ensuring that our Black academic staff are actively engaging in research and in international networks. Therefore, I welcome this initiative to strengthen the linkages between the Black intellectual community at MSU with Africans on the continent. It is timely, especially within the context of the aspirations of the African Union around engaging the broader African diaspora in its science-focused development agenda. There are clearly compelling reasons to explore these new global inclusive strategies, as we have learned so much about the interconnectedness of regions around the world during COVID, the challenges for underrepresented communities, and the necessity for engagement to solve global challenges. Furthermore, there is evidence that through these types of partnerships, there is a greater potential for career advancement through increased co-authored publications with higher citation rates, leveraging externally funded projects, internationalizing teaching and outreach activities, and of course, producing globally competent and culturally aware students and faculty. At the AAP, we have created innovative approaches to sustainable and equitable partnerships. And on behalf of other consortium members and the advisory board, I'm pleased that the AAP team has initiated this program. My hope is that it will advance a new chapter of global understanding through thought leadership, experiential knowledge exchanges, and practical solutions for transforming lives. Colleagues from the University of Pretoria, as we call ourselves, the African Global University, will certainly engage. Again, it is my pleasure to welcome you all, and I look forward to our work together as we create intentional, inclusive pathways for underrepresented academics in the diaspora to collaborate on this important work and build new partnerships across Africa. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kupe, for outlining the very importance of this work. And folks, I want to share with you that Muhammad Ali has said, he is acknowledged as having said, it is the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. So we truly want you to believe and feel that you are fully welcome today. And thus we offer our third welcome from Dr. Jabar Bennett, Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer, Michigan State University. Dr. Bennett.
Hello, everyone. As you heard, my name is Jabar Bennett, and I serve as Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer at Michigan State University. I'm very pleased to help welcome you to the Diverse Black Africa Program launch and virtual information session. I joined Assistant Provost Weatherspoon and Vice Chancellor Kupe in extending my best wishes for an enlightening and engaging program. And thank you to the African Studies Center, Alliance for African Partnership, Black Faculty, Staff, and Administrator Association, Department of African and African American Studies, and the Diversity Research Network for sponsoring today's event. And of course, thank you to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Denise Troutman, for moderating the discussion. On behalf of Michigan State University and President Samuel L. Stanley Jr., we are grateful for your participation in today's event as we explore new collaborations and strengthen existing ties between Black African diaspora faculty, staff, and administrators at our institution with Black colleagues based at African universities throughout the Alliance for African Partnership Consortium. In 2019, Michigan State University President Samuel L. Stanley Jr. named diversity, equity, and inclusion as key institutional priorities. And in 2021, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Steering Committee report was released, which provides a framework for related strategic planning and outlines recommendations to increase diversity, ensure equity, promote inclusion, and enhance outreach and engagement across the institution. The plan itself is the result of tireless efforts made by many and led by steering committee co-chairs Dr. Wanda Lipscomb and Mr. Luis Alonso Garcia. Generations of Spartans and our partners across the globe will benefit from this work in the roadmap that has been created to guide it. We're now planning to implement many of these recommendations, which build upon and leverage a very strong foundation of decades-long diversity-related programming and policies on our campus. The very first iteration of my office, which is now known as the Office for Institutional Diversity and Inclusion, was established back in 1968. It was a transgressive year globally, as African Americans struggled for civil rights and the fight against apartheid raged on abroad. And now, more than 50 years later, many citizens and nations of the world have not fully realized the idea or dream of true democracy, freedom, or liberation. But with a focus on faculty and staff of African descent from the Americas, the Diverse Black Africa program promises to further enlighten, empower, and equip those who seek to increase understanding and perceptions of Africa and the diaspora, increase opportunities and contributions towards strengthening research, teaching, and outreach capacity, and increase the numbers of internationally engaged Black diaspora faculty and their students while advancing their careers. Through the use of inclusive language, intentional engagement, and the identification of mutually beneficial goals, Michigan State University underscores its commitment to strengthening and expanding global partnerships and contributions. And thank you to the International Studies Program and Global Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force for helping to inform these efforts. In closing, Michigan State University is working to foster a community that respects and values a broad range of backgrounds, viewpoints, and experiences so that everyone can reach their full potential in the classroom and workplace. I would like to congratulate Dr. Jose Jackson Maletti, whose Diverse Black Africa program is one of this year's Creating Inclusive Excellence Grant recipients. Congratulations, Dr. Jackson Maletti. Since 2005, the Creating Inclusive Excellence Grants program in the Office for Institutional Diversity and Inclusion has provided funding to colleges, as well as other academic and administrative units, individuals and groups to engage in efforts that will enhance the overall living, learning, and working environment at Michigan State University. The Diverse Black Africa program exemplifies this vision, and we anticipate great outcomes from their work for many years to come. Thank you for your time and best wishes for a most successful event. And Dr. Troutman, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bennett, for highlighting the importance of this program, the ingenuity of it, and the importance of the diasporic work. We're looking forward to this program, and we're looking forth energetically for different people to apply. And so as the three speakers have espoused, everyone, you are most welcome here today. Let's show resounding appreciation to our leaders for their words and time spent with us by clicking on the applause emoticon. Can we thank them? At this juncture, we ask Dr. Jose Jackson Maletti, co-director of the Alliance for African Partnership, to introduce the DBA team and give an overview of the DBA program. Dr. Jackson Maletti.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Denise. And thank you so much, colleagues. I'd like to, first of all, acknowledge the MSU leadership. Provost Woodruff, who's not here, but is represented ably by Dave Weatherspoon, a colleague and friend of many years. The Associate Provost for ISP, International Studies and Programs, my boss, Steve Hansen, who's not here as well, but is very much supportive of this project. Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer, Jabar Bennett, thank you so much. Our AAP Consortium members, our board chair, Vice Chancellor Kupe, as usual, you come through with support for our consortium and the work that we do. And I'd like to acknowledge, first of all, that this is not my project. It's not my proposal. This is a team effort that we have spent many weeks working on at various levels of planning and implementation. Justin, perhaps we can start with the slides. Next one. So I just acknowledge here the many partners and the funders of our program. I think you've heard throughout, various different organizations and units being mentioned here. And these are the supporting of our program, the DBA program. Next slide. And this is our team. And this is just part of the team, but people who have been part of the proposal development, part of the planning, and will also be part of the implementation. So Denise is our moderator today. Isaac Kalumbo is the Assistant Director for African Studies Center. Eunice Foster, Professor and BFSAA Treasurer. Upenyu Maje is in the African Studies Center. He's the Program Manager for the Ubuntu Dialogues, which is one of the kind of components of this program that we're borrowing from the African Studies Center. Elena Lawrence is a Program Assistant for the AAP. Justin Rabineau, Program Manager for the AAP. Amy Jameson, Co-Director with me for the AAP. And Raquel Acosta, who is our comms intern. We also have two network partners that are based at MSU, where we get, in addition to working with BFSAA, we have worked very closely with the Diversity Research Network and the Department of African American and African Studies to get the Black faculty who will be here and interested in working with colleagues from Africa. Next slide. So I thought I'd begin a bit with trying to get those of you who are not aware of the Alliance for African Partnership and what we do. So we are a consortium of 12 institutions. We have 10 African universities, an ag policy think tank, and MSU. So there are 12 of us in the consortium, and we work together around bringing people together, so building bridges, transforming institutions to make them stronger and enhance the quality of the work that we do. And then we also, our ultimate goal is really to transform lives on the continent, but also more broadly in the US and globally. We have some guiding principles on which we work, by which we work: equity, inclusion, transparency, and we try to live these principles. There are 5 of them. We try to live them in all of the work that we do. And our priority areas, as you see here, we have 6 priority areas that we focus on in all of the different programs and initiatives that we support. There are, as I mentioned, the 10 universities. Next slide. These are listed here, the 10 universities, MSU, and the Ag Policy think tank. So these are the institutions that are eligible to participate in most of our programs, in all of our programs. But we also do welcome others who may not be members of our consortium to participate in various ways. And we will discuss this as we go forward. Next slide. So the funders of our program, we acknowledge the Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion and International Studies and Programs, the AAP and the African Studies Center, who are actually putting the actual dollars into this program. We will be using other MSU resources as well. Next slide, yes. There are other partners on the MSU campus that we work with periodically. Global Ideas, as I mentioned before, Diversity Research Network. Deborah has been working with us on leadership issues with supporting some of our scholars who are visiting from Africa. The International Advancement Unit at ISP, supports us around foundations, the MSU Writing Center, and of course, the core faculty of the African Studies Center. We will be calling on different folks to support and engage with colleagues who participate in this program. Next slide. So I think we've heard about the goal of the DBA program, the Diverse Black Africa program. And this is part of our overall global DEI initiative at MSU. It is really about trying to increase the diversity of faculty who are engaging in African partnerships. And we have looked at the data within AAP on who is engaging and who is successfully engaging, who may have applied, who has been successful. And we're not getting the numbers from African diaspora colleagues. And so this was of concern because it means that this particular group is not engaging in international partnerships, perhaps, that we may be aware of anyway, and certainly in African partnerships that MSU is funding and supporting. So our goal is to increase the diversity of these underrepresented faculty, academic staff, and administrators in African partnerships that would support and promote their retention, success, and excellence. So we want to see more Black faculty engagement and engaging with the AAP Consortium. We would like to nurture the research and teaching and outreach collaborations that you are already doing. And I know that you're doing them here in the US, perhaps many of you, and perhaps in other countries. And we would like to see this engagement broadening to the African continent. We believe that this would also, in addition to supporting all these other things, your own research, et cetera, we want to see how this translates into your teaching and how it helps to strengthen the global competence of both yourself and your students. And then to establish that community of practice that will eventually get more people to be engaged. This is a pilot program that we're doing for this year. Maybe we might not need it next year because we would have the ambassadors now who will go out and try to get more to be engaged. Next slide. So the first thing is that the DBA program is a team-based program. So it's not an individual project where you do your research on your own. This is going to be something that you have to team up with someone else from another continent. So if you're at MSU, you have to find a partner from one of the AAP institutions. And this is the basis of the program. So to build new partnerships or to strengthen already existing partnerships. I know many people already have partners that they've worked with. They may or may not be from the AAP Consortium. And so how do you engage around these different types of partners is what we're looking at. So let's go through some of the components of what the DBA program will involve. Next slide. We are beginning with a virtual 4-part dialogue series. And, we're doing this now because we are intentionally have intentionally developed this program. But really, whenever we are doing a program and we are trying to strengthen and, or establish these new partnerships, this is really core information that everyone needs. So building trust. In our particular case, what is the experience of the African diaspora? What are some of the best practices for engaging with Africa? The racial healing circle that we are hoping would build that authentic relationship and bridge divide and create, based on whatever perceptions or narratives that we may have heard about. How do we get rid of those and build trust and have an authentic partnership? That's what these first 4 sessions are going to entail. And it's really should be the basis on any type of partnership, because if you don't have trust, if you don't have trying to think about what is the what is the best way of us working together, our communication, etc. If all of that is not in place, then the partnership may not work, it may not succeed. And so we are going to take our colleagues through all of this. Next slide. And to help us to do that, we've asked 6 of our colleagues and friends to lead on these dialogue facilitations. Some of them are based at MSU and some are based in other institutions. So we have Paul Zaleza. He's the former Vice Chancellor for the U.S. International University in Kenya. He's now based at Case Western University. He's an African diaspora scholar, a historian. I can say many things about him. A past member, obviously, he was the Vice Chancellor of one of our member Consortium universities, and he has been extremely supportive of the AAP and has agreed again to continue with the support and engagement. Nicole Webster is a Spartan, and she's currently at Penn State University. She has engaged in Africa for many years, a fellow Caribbean citizen. She has come to MSU on several occasions and shared her experiences around best practices of engaging in Africa. And so she has agreed, maybe under duress, Nicole, to work with us on this particular project. Carlton Evans, he is a consultant, founder of this company called McDuffie Evans, and he does facilitation of race relations in the Lansing, Michigan community and beyond. And he has been working with MSU on holding these racial circles and racial healing circles. And we've worked closely with him on a proposal. We were not successful with the proposal, but we had many weeks of building trust, of working together, and we continue to respect and are happy to have Carlton sharing his experiences with us on a broader program. Tama Hamilton-Ray is a faculty member at Michigan State University. She has worked for many years with African colleagues, and she will be sharing with us. She's African American and will be sharing her own experiences and work with the different team members. Philip Epiong, faculty at MSU again. He's African born, originally from Nigeria, and he is also the chairperson of the advisory board for the African Studies Center. And we have great conversations with Philip, both at work and also personally. Lorraine Weatherspoon is a friend and colleague. She is faculty at MSU in Food Science and Human Nutrition Department. She's originally from South Africa and has had long and obviously research experiences with different colleagues, both in the US and in Africa. So these are our initial 6 facilitators. We have asked other colleagues to participate in various other programs, and we will definitely be sharing those with you. Next slide. So the other parts of the program are the virtual professional development workshops, and these are some of the workshops that we have just threw out there. So grant proposal development, engagement and outreach, career planning and advancement, leadership and career success, but we could be way off. So when we get the applicants, we will then be working with you to identify, do we need this? Is there a program already in existence that your team can participate in? And so these are just our ideas as the team right now, and they could change. The next one is, the next slide is the actual program that you will do as a team. And these are very small grants that you will get to carry out your virtual or your in-person team project. We will have a design workshop or design workshops for the teams, and this will be led by my colleague, Amy Jameson in the Alliance for African Partnership. She does this quite significantly with a number of projects that she's involved in. So we'll do those. We and then we thought of some potential projects or, programs that you could do, but it's entirely up to the teams to decide what do you want to do together. So you can do a small research and publication project. This may be data that you already have. You do a comparative study and then you publish this together. You may want to think about a global classroom, or what in other places are also known as the collaborative online international learning experiences for students. And we have shared the websites of, where you can find information about these two approaches. I know the global classroom very well. When I worked at the University of Botswana, the Masters in Development program was one of the first programs many years ago that used this global classroom approach and looked at, engaging students in different countries. So we would like to see if something like that or the COIL experience can be used. Or do you want to establish a virtual global speaker series for your classroom, for your department, or something like that? And then there may be those who want to do a travel exchange to enrich their academic experience. So somebody from MSU going to one of our partner institutions on the continent, or vice versa. So it depends on what you want to do. The funding, as I said, is not huge funds. This is just to get you started, to build that relationship. But there could be other types of programs that you may want to do, and it's entirely up to the team. These are just some ideas that we threw out there to get people to think about what they could do. Next slide. We are at the end of the program going to have a summit or a symposium, a workshop, any of those words that really showcases the work of the teams and what you've done, what you've learned. And we do this often with many of the programs that we run at the AAP. We will also invite other stakeholders, funders, and higher education stakeholders to this program. And we hope that this can build on engagement with other types of stakeholders in this space. As part of our MEL, monitoring, evaluation, and learning, we are going to be talking to the teams quite a bit to try to understand, where are the successes. We also want to know how could we improve this if we were to do it for a second year. And we also want to do some implementation, some publications around this program. We'll do some reports, and we may publish a paper or something just to demonstrate how successful we can be when we are intentional about different issues. And then we will be inviting the teams to participate in many of our communication initiatives. So whether it is our AAP Voices video series, our podcasts, social media communication platforms, whatever it is, we will try to engage different teams in these experiences. And then of course, our community of practice, which we would like to say are our DBA ambassadors that will share their own positive experiences and support future cohorts. Next slide. The key thing is that this is just to get your team, just to get you to establish those linkages, strengthen ones that you may have had that may have sort of pitted off a bit. And then we want to bring you back to what are some of the existing programs that the AAP currently runs. So we have a PIRA, which is Partnerships for Innovative Research in Africa. This is our seed grant program for research, teaching, and outreach. We have grants that range from $50,000 to $200,000. And our next one may likely be in 2023. We're not quite sure yet because we do have a current cohort that's in progress at the moment. So that's one of the programs that we would hope the teams would apply to. Then we also have what we call the Transforming Institution Grants, and these are up to $20,000. And in spring 2022, we hope to have our next call for applications. We have the cohort 3 of the African Futures Visiting Scholar Program. We're calling for MSU mentors at the moment to mentor an early career scholar for 1 year. They will come to the MSU campus and be co-supervised or co-mentored by MSU and one of our AAP Consortium member universities. So this is another opportunity. The call is currently open. Those of you who feel that you have a strong enough collaboration already and you may want to apply for this, we welcome you. There are 2 thematic areas this year, though. They are in global health and climate change. So if you are in those 2 areas, and must be multidisciplinary, if you're in those 2 areas, then we welcome you for spring 2022. There will be another call next year as well. Then we have what we call the AAP Transforming Lives platforms that is currently ongoing. We have new legs of these platforms that are sometimes being established around soil health and resilience, trans-regional health, and youth transformation. And so we welcome colleagues who are interested in participating in these. And then, of course, we have the proposal development support that we provide along with other units at MSU. So Global Ideas, as I mentioned, we work very closely with them, ISP advancement, etc., to access large scale, well, mid to large scale grants from the US government, foundations, etc. And we've been quite successful last year in getting these, and we look forward to many of you working with us to access these large funds. Thank you. Justin, next slide. So let's get back to the program as well in terms of who is eligible. So we said it's Black faculty, academic staff, and administrators. You have to be born outside of Africa. So this is for African diaspora, people of African descent who are from the US, from Canada, from Latin America, from Caribbean, etc. There are programs for African scholars who are in the US, who are born in Africa. There are programs that are already existing for them to engage in Africa. I mean, non-MSU programs. So the Carnegie African Diaspora Fellowship Program, which Paul Zaleza was the chairperson for that program for a number of years. That program is ongoing and running, and we welcome colleagues to engage in that program when it comes to the African diaspora, because people who are from Africa, who are born in Africa, who are living in the US right now, they are also African diaspora. But we are looking now for those other colleagues who are non-African born colleagues, right? And so these are the universities that we want our colleagues to engage with primarily. We are saying that other African or other US institutions could also be involved in your teams, but the amount of funds that you get is not going to change. It's not, if you decide to have 10 people, then your funds are still going to be the same as if you had 2 people, because we don't have a whole lot of money. You have to have an advanced degree, previous experience working in Africa is not required. We welcome those who have not had experience, who want to engage, and we are there to support and help you. Next slide. So what is required for the application process? A letter of interest that indicates, how your work is aligned to the priorities of AAP and the region and country in Africa, etc., that you want to work with. Just 1 page, your CV, which you should already have, and then a personal statement that shows what is the program that you jointly want to work on with someone, and a letter of recommendation from your chairperson, department head, or someone who is your supervisor. And what we're saying is those of you who already have, when you apply for the program, if you already have a team member, that's really great. We're trying to get teams to be established before you apply. If you need help with a team, that's where we come in. We can support you on that. And so those who have those teams, and you're ready to go, that's great. But don't despair if you don't have one, because we are here to help you to find whether it's an MSU person or whether it's one of our African colleagues. Okay, next slide. The selection process depends simply on it's, based on the quality of the application package, the evidence of mutual benefit, appropriateness of the time that you've proposed, and the impact, the potential for impact. And that's where I said here that priority will be given to existing matches. If we already have your match by the time you apply, it's easy for us to facilitate that application, but we are happy to do these matchmaking. We do this all the time and we can get it done. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. Next one. The timeline is when we're done, Justin is going to open that link and the application portal will become live. And the deadline for your applications, we don't want you to take too long. We want to get this program started. So February 11th, applicants selected by the 25th, and we expect the program to begin by March 2nd. So we're trying to really move this, fast track this as much as possible. We don't want to make it too complicated. It should be something very easy. We must have a match of an MSU person and someone from Africa working together. That's the key thing. Next slide, which I believe is the last one. So if you need information about finding someone to partner with, please reach out to us. And you have different areas where you can reach: AAP, BFSAA, and African Studies Center. So please let us know if you need any kind of support in that area, and we will be there to help you. So I hope this gives you a good background on the program, what the expectations are, and I hope you're still interested. So we've had quite a response, and we would like this to be maintained with those who apply and those who are successful. We show that we're quite positive that those who apply will be successful. So we look forward to that. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jackson Malede. We really appreciate the substantive information that you've given us to help us to understand more clearly. At this juncture, everybody, you have an opportunity to participate. So get ready, get ready. We're going to open up the floor for questions and answers. Dr. Isaac Colombo, Assistant Director, African Studies Center, and Dr. Lula Kaya, Director of Internationalization, Convocation and Advancement, University of Dar es Salaam, will orchestrate the question and answer. Dr. Kalumba, Dr. Kalumbu, and Dr. Kaya, come on and help us out.
Thank you so much, Denise, and thank you everyone for convening this very important meeting. I will go right ahead and ask the first question. And the question says, I am interested in learning more about using collaborative online international learning, otherwise known as COIL. The approach is to connect students in different countries. Can you provide more information about this? Is there someone that will support COIL teams? Perhaps Opal can answer that question. Or is there someone else who's able to answer the question?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, this is Opal Lehman-Varghese, and I'm the Executive Director for Education Abroad at Michigan State University. And I would be happy to assist in any way that I can with COIL. I apologize for not being able to be on video today. I had to accompany my husband to a medical appointment, so we're in the lobby. But I am available to this team, and I have some information that I would like to share with Jose that hopefully she can pass on to the group. And I think that you'll find that information extremely helpful. It gives an overview of COIL, and then it also talks about some specific partnership examples that we have at MSU. We have, I would say at this point, 5 to 6 faculty who are engaged in COIL projects, and we have developed a community of practice around that. And so we're moving in some really strong directions. COIL is a wonderful opportunity to increase students' global competencies and to, in a low pressure way, connect classrooms in one country with a classroom in another. So I think people here will have some degree of familiarity with COIL, but it essentially means that two faculty are collaborating on a single project and bringing their two classrooms together for that project. So the students interact and engage in a project usually of 2 to 6 weeks, something of that nature. And the two classrooms do not have to be the same academic area. So you can have, for example, a business class in one location and a sociology class in another location, looking at a shared topic such as consumer behavior. So the opportunities for engagement are quite strong, and it does require a technology platform. So that's something we can also give some advice on. And finally, I'll just say that MSU is part of the SUNY COIL Global Network, which means that we have the opportunity to look for partners throughout the world for our COIL projects. And we have found that is quite useful. And I think we'll be able to provide more information about the SUNY COIL Global Network as well. But I look forward to engaging with folks, and I will share my email address in case there are any specific questions for me now or later. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, Opal, for that response. And may I also take this opportunity to remind all people who have participated that if you have any question, feel free to put it in the chat room. I will go ahead, Kalumbo, and ask the second question. So we have a question. What do we do to continue cultural and travel exchange in the midst of the pandemic? Perhaps Isaac, you could respond to that. You're muted, Isaac.
Thank you, Lou. So continuation of cultural exchange programs through the pandemic. Clearly, the pandemic has put a lot of limitations on movement and travel. But we are all aware that travel has slowly begun to happen. And while it is happening, there are many restrictions, and it depends really which country you're coming from and what your destination is. And those restrictions are varied and wide and different. In some places, it's harder to travel than in others. So what we need to do is to make sure that we are following all the protocols and the requirements, because that's where the sticky point is. The requirements for when to travel and how to travel, all the, some places require vaccination to even leave the airport, others require, COVID tests, and there are lots of things to consider regulation-wise. But the will is there. I think on both sides, we would like to see movement beginning to take place, and there are so many opportunities that the African institutions offer, the US and offer us here at MSU, and the ones that we can offer over there. So it's sort of a wait and see position that we are in right now. But as for now, we should just do the very best that we can where travel is needed.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yes.
Continue reading the question. So how are the researchers at MSU or who are members of the AAP Consortium in Africa that are interested in applying to the DBA program identify a partner? So I know Jose, you spoke about it in your presentation. Maybe you can briefly respond to that.
Thank you, Lulu. Yes, so I think I've explained this already, that this is something that we do all the time at AAP, African Studies Center. We try to identify partners. If it's someone needing a partner in at MSU, we can help you to find the partner. In Africa, we have focal points at all of the universities and the think tank that are part of the AAP Consortium. And we will work with them to identify the partner that you need. So you reach out to us with those emails that I indicated, and we will help you to find those partners. Thank you. I think that should do it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the questions that are being asked, at some point in your presentation, Jose, you covered some of the points that are being asked for, but we can always reiterate, and I see a question here that says, is there any support to assist teams with developing their joint programs? Perhaps Amy could answer that question for us.
Thanks, Isaac. I appreciate it. Greetings, everyone, and excited to be here today. Yes, as Jose mentioned in the presentation, we'll have the partners going through the program, but there'll be a space within the program for design, a design workshop or workshops. We're still deciding on what's needed in that space, but this would provide space for teams to come together to help identify common goals and objectives, and then have the support needed to put those goals and objectives into some action plan for a project. And so that's what I'll be leading with support of the AAP team, providing that space to bring teams together to help them identify what they want to accomplish through the projects, and then come up with a step-by-step plan to do that, a project to do that. I think that should clarify it, but happy to elaborate if needed.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And there's another question coming along that. What are the opportunities available for program exchange between African countries, for example, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, etc.? Maybe Jose or Amy, you can help on that.
I think we also answered this one, but perhaps it wasn't very clear as well. So as we said, there has to be a team. So the DBA is a team project, and there must be at least one person from MSU and one person from the other from a member of our AAP consortium. So those two must be met. Now, if colleagues in that team would like to involve others in their project or whatever it is they want to do, that is perfectly fine. So whether it is someone from another African country or from the US, and I think I saw something in the chat about Europe, the African diaspora in Europe, if the two team members that meet the main eligibility criteria, if they would like to invite others, I think there's no problem there. But understand, of course, that the funding cannot change. So that's the only information. But I think this particular question was looking at more South-South collaboration and whether we can have African countries alone participating, and unfortunately not. Part of the program is about bringing African American or African Caribbean, African Latin American, whatever your heritage, bringing that group together with African colleagues to work together. So there must be the MSU and African colleagues from AAP working together first, and then other colleagues are free to come in as long as the team wants them. Yeah.
Thank you, Jose. There's a question here for Justin, I think, which says, I am interested in working with African-based colleagues to make scholarly publishing more equitable. Can I apply for a research project or travel exchange to share information or establish processes for future press collaborations? Justin?
I don't know if I'm going to be the best to answer that, so I might pass that back to Jose, even though she's been called on quite a bit.
Yes, Jose?
I was hoping that somebody else can answer besides me, but this is just an example of a program that somebody is proposing, and they can do exactly that. So you can apply for a research project or a travel exchange, and this is one of the examples that we gave. So it's perfectly in order. This is, I think, coming from somebody from our MSU press. And I think there is interest in engaging with press from other African countries. And that would be, this is a perfect one, especially that comes from our Transforming Institutions program. Amy, I think maybe we've had some conversations about this. Maybe you want to just come in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this ties in, Jose, with opportunities to continue these collaborations after that. So we do have a program called Transforming Institutions, a small grants program, but we're also exploring other areas on such as publishing, libraries, digitization, where we might facilitate some ongoing partnerships in that space above and beyond the programs. But I think that that type of program, we can help for any of the teams that are applying, we can help match you with opportunities to continue the partnership after the program has sort of come to a close. We want to make sure that there are opportunities to sustain these partnerships, and for that particular one, the Transforming Institutions program is certainly a really good fit. And I think, Justin, I don't know if you want to put in the chat that so people can take a look, the link to that program as well, as one of the opportunities to continue the partnerships. Jose, is that what you wanted me to cover?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Amy. And I hope people who are listening are taking a note that this is a seed to even deeper engagements. And that's what AAP and the whole MSU team is looking at. Maybe we have a hand, we've had quite some time, a hand from Rion Matemane. We can listen to Rion. Rion Matemane.
Yes, colleagues, sorry, how are you? Thank you very much. What I wanted to ask is whether, because I see that the members must be from the affiliating universities, whether I can perhaps have a match, somebody who's not in the, whose university is not in the thing, it's not part of the consortium. Is it possible? Because I've identified somebody in the US, but his university is not affiliated to this. So can I apply with that person to do a project with that person? Thank you.
So you're trying to avoid to ask.
Unfortunately, you must have a team member from MSU, Michigan State University, and you must have one from the Alliance for African Partnership Consortium. And, we normally would want to have, members, people coming together from any institution, but our funding is very limited in this pilot program, and it's really just to get us started. We are going to be looking for funding with some of our partners who have expressed interest in this area. In fact, we have kind of stolen this idea from Paul Zaleza, who is our former member of our AAP consortium. He has long proposed this type of work and has been actively seeking funding, and we're kind of now going to be working with him, I hope, in intentionally engaging for active for funding for this type of work. Because we've seen, given the number of questions about working together with different institutions in Africa, in the US, etc., we've seen that this is of interest. And so we'll work with him and others who are interested in this type of work. But for this particular DBA call, you must have a Michigan State University faculty, academic staff, administrator, and counterpart in Africa, part of the AAP consortium. So I'm so sorry, can't remember the name of the person whose hand was up. Rion, yeah. So, but if you can find, if you wanted to apply, and if you're from the AAP consortium, and if you wanted us to identify someone specifically from MSU, we would love to do so. So let us know, okay?
Perfect, I will do that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so next question is there any program that could be designed for the value-added engagement of African youth and gender? A program that could be designed for the value-added engagement of African youth and gender. Amy?
Certainly, this sounds like a great topic and completely in line with AAP's priority areas. Youth empowerment is one of AAP's priority areas, and as well as gender is a cross-cutting theme that we incorporate into all of our programs, or we work to support faculty to incorporate issues of gender and inclusion. So yes, I think there is that would be a strong proposal for a program. We also have at MSU our Global Youth Advancement Network that can help identify faculty across MSU in this space. And we have a youth platform, African Youth Transformation Platform, and this would fit nicely within that as well. And Kwame Yaboa within the AAP office coordinates that platform. Isaac, can I just have a quick mention about the AAP Bridge as a way to find partners in that category or others? Yeah, so we also, AAP has a digital platform that we just launched our new version this past August, where you can go on, and Justin will share the link, I think he already has in the chat, the aapbridge.com. It's simple, aapbridge.com. You can create a profile in there. You can see other people's research profiles on there. You can share your research. You can share your stories, any news that you have. There's also a place to find opportunities for grants, opportunities for conference presentations, for calls for publications. So it is a space to bring together, a collaborative space to bring together those researchers and practitioners who are interested in this space of addressing challenges across the African continent and supporting research related to Africa. So we encourage you to create a profile in that space and to use it as a tool to find partners who are interested in the type of work that you are also interested in.
I think I see another hand raised. I don't know.
Emily Smith, please. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you to everyone for your very important presentations, for this really important Diaspora initiative to bring together Black African and Black American scholars. I've seen so many people drop their names in the chat and their universities, and to me it sounds like we have already a list of about 126 potential partners just here as part of this meeting. And if we could get a list of these folks, you so insightfully had us register, and perhaps you have a database growing already of the folks who registered, their discipline, their universities, that could be made available to us. It would be a great start to us in terms of finding partners.
Justin?
So just to quickly share with everyone, I've had a couple questions in the chat. So we will be sharing the presentations with everyone after this. I'll PDF it and send it out via email. So anyone who registered, whether or not they attended today, will get that. As far as sharing the list of registrants, we're a little hesitant to do so, just some privacy concerns there. But I think that's where reaching out to us to look for potential partners comes into play. We'll have access to that list, and we have a rough idea on folks' disciplines and areas of interest. So we can sort of be the middleman for that information rather than us just sharing it wholeheartedly.
Well, I will say feel free to share my email address and information to anyone who asks, because it allows you to be able to look, you know what I mean, and say, oh, she's at MSU and she's interested in youth empowerment, you know what I mean? So feel free.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. And just to follow up on Amy's shout out earlier, AAP Bridge is a great place to sort of sign up, fill out your profile, and then you're sort of publicly available. So folks can search their areas of interest and find potential partners. So I would encourage everyone to sign up there if you haven't already.
Thank you, Justin. We will continue with the questions as shared in the chat room. There's a question from Vincent Settler. I have 2 health-related projects. I need MSU partners to raise grants for these projects. How do I get MSU partners? I think Vincent, that has been answered. You can reach to the emails provided with the team here, and they will definitely assist you to obtain a partner. And I think we have a related question also from Olumuyiwa Desmenu. My university in Nigeria would love to participate on this, and I found that you only currently collaborate with UNN. Can we still collaborate? So I think also that one, Jose have explained that for Africans who are not members of the consortium universities, how they can try to get a link and see if they will have an opportunity to partner with the consortium members so that they can participate in the program. Isaac, to you.
Thank you, Lulu. There's a question here. I think, again, some of this has been touched upon, but it will be useful to reiterate the points. Eunice, it's a question for you. It says, what should a collaborative research team constitute?
Okay, well, thank you. As I mentioned, the collaborative research team would be the same as the others. There would be a partner from one of the AAP universities and also a partner from Michigan State University. As was mentioned, others can be included, but the amount of funding would be the same, but it has to be a partner from one of the AAP universities and then one of the partners from Michigan State University, and again, from the Black diaspora at Michigan State University. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
Yes, we have a question from Dele Rahim. Is there a possibility for African diaspora in Europe to collaborate in this initiative?
I would say that.
Yeah, sorry, I think it's been answered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question that it says, I'm interested in enhancing my skills and career and forming networks with other professionals in higher education who work in the area of student evaluation of teaching, SET. Will my goals be met in this program? I think, Isaac, you can help us.
Yes, this is another example of an excellent proposal, excellent idea. So yes, your goals will be met in the sense that we can assist in identifying faculty who are interested in this type of work. You know, evaluation is very central to what we do as educators. So a collaboration between MSU and African institutions or an African institution on evaluation is really key to the development of our various respective programs. So yeah, it's an example, one more example of those really important project proposals that we would like to see happening. I see another question here that says, is it possible to pursue a master's program in agri-food processing?
Is it possible to pursue?
Sorry, Lulu?
No, continue.
Yes, it says, is it possible to pursue a master's program in agri-food processing? As far as I know, the answer is yes, but I have colleagues here, I think from Ag and Natural Resources. Maybe Eunice, do you want to take that for us, Eunice?
Well, I would say the same applies. If you're interested, as Isaac is saying, we have colleagues from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources that work in that area, and we would be happy to help make those connections. As you know, we have a very robust, long-standing program at Michigan State University in terms of international agriculture, and we would be just building upon that. So yes, that should be possible. We just help you identify potential partners.
Thank you, Eunice. I think that's all the questions I have. Do you have questions from the chat, Lulu?
Yes, I have some questions from the chat. I think this is from Dele Rahim. I'm open to climate change, food security issues. This is my area of specialization in the Arctic countries. Africa's industrialization will need to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. Any MSU collaborator will be great. I think he's calling up for a partner from MSU. So I think thank you, Della. We have taken note of that. We also have a message from Caitlin Tyler. Sorry, a message from Christopher Isike, just to put out that we are looking to establish an African Center for the study of the US at the University of Pretoria soon. We are open to collaborate, match with any of your eligible scholars to study at US State and Society of Learning that is mutually beneficial to Africa and the US. I can be reached at my email. He has shared his email in the chat room. So I think we have people here from University of Pretoria. You can follow up on that comment from the chat. And we also have another question from Linda Bonambi. Can we use the site to market research activities within our institution? I am an information specialist at the University of Pretoria. Maybe someone can respond from the team.
Is that question in regard? I'm assuming that's in regards to AEP Bridge, and you are more than welcome to publicize any research going on at your institution, any funding opportunities that may be available. It's an open platform to share however you see fit. So it's not just for this program, but you can use it more broadly if you like. So yes.
Okay. Thank you, Justin, for that. We also have another question here. Someone says, my question pertains to repatriation. Basically, I am interested in launching a business to business with a particular focus on economic development in Tanzania or Ethiopia. Therefore, I am wondering what are the existing resources? Anyone could respond to that? I think it's a broader question.
We do have colleagues at MSU who's doing work on African trade, and we could perhaps link them. I know that, and I think I saw Michael Olabisi, he had registered. I'm not sure if he's still on the call, but we can definitely link him with the person who asked that question. I don't have a specific answer for it, but I know that there are specialists in that area who's studying that here. So yeah.
Thank you, Jose. And I think there's another question someone was asking that they would like to know when the project implementation will kick off. Although I know that was mentioned in your presentation, Jose, but maybe as a recap, you can do the dates again.
March 2nd, 2022 is when we expect it to start.
Can you share also the dates on the application deadlines? Yeah, that slide. Thank you, Justin. So just as an updating to the person who asked the question and to the others, those are the dates regarding the application deadline, but also selection and when the program is expected to start. And I think from the chat so far, I don't have any other question. We have someone saying goodbye. I need to switch to another meeting. Thank you for this leadership. I'm available to partner and collaborate with whomever may be interested in my expertise. Shared his contact, rare isotope beams and physics and astronomy at MSU. So this is a potential partner for people to take note. And I think he shared it in the chat room.
I see a couple of questions also in the chat about individuals who are interested in particular areas and wondering if they can be contacted regarding their interests. And Justin, if it is possible, you could put up the slide that shows who to contact at MSU with the email addresses one more time so that people know who to write to. Thank you so much, Justin. Well, I don't know if there are any other questions, Lulu. I don't seem to see any new questions. Or if there are people in the audience who would like to speak.
I don't see any question, but maybe I could share something from my position as a focal point. And this is for any people who are interested, either from the MSU and who are looking for. So I was saying that as a focal person, and also on behalf of other focal persons from the consortium universities. So if we have people who are looking for partners to apply with from our universities, if you visit the AAP website, you'll find the contact addresses for the focal persons for all the 12 partner institutions. Feel free to reach us out, and it is also our responsibility to help you find the partners that you're looking to work with. Thank you, and I see a hand. We have Jiva Munsami. Jiva, you're welcome to ask a question.
Hi, thank you, Lulu. My name is Jiva Munsami, and I'm working as a community engagement deputy director at a university in South Africa, actually Bloemfontein. And I'm very interested in partnering in the field of teaching, research, and community engagement, and especially with smart villages, as our focal point, or development for that matter. So I'm not sure how I should go about doing that. But there was a person from Botswana that sent me a message that Keniwe, that she can partner with me. But also I'm looking at other universities as well. Thank you so much.
Anyone on the team wants to take that question up?
Yeah, there's one more question in the chat room. My name is Anthony Tibaingana. I'm interested in micro, small, medium, and large enterprises growth with particular focus on skilling. Can I get those interested to contact me on shared her or his email address? So I think people have taken note. Together with also we have pronouncing this name, King Zia from MSU. Also, he has shared an email where people can reach him. So we already see people ready to partner and sharing their willingness and contact. I'm sure we are taking note, but also don't hesitate to reach the official email addresses that have been provided to link you with any person who has expressed or you're interested to work with. I don't see any other question, Isaac. What about on your side?
Lulu, I thought I saw a question from someone in Nigeria or about Nigeria. I know him, so that's why I saw
read
the question.
One question about Nigeria that was asking about how his university would love to participate, in this. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, so I think that was, you already responded to that.
Oh, okay, okay, good. Hi, Moses. I know who it is, so that's why I wanted to make sure he was answered.
Thank you, Dr.
It was answered.
He has been answered. Thank you.
We have another question again, I see, from Emily Smith. She actually shared her contact and says, feel free to reach out if you're interested in any initiatives relevant to youth empowerment. Thank you, Emily. I think we've taken note of that.
So there is, as you say, Lulu, great interest. And I see also that Nicole Webster has just given her contact information to Jiva because she recognizes that there's an interest, they share an interest in research areas that have to do with community engagement. So this is really wonderful to see. The connections are already starting to happen. But as we have said a couple of times now, please feel free to contact us if you have questions and need help with being connected. The AAP bridge, as my colleagues have already indicated, it's going to be very useful in that regard. Plus, you can contact us directly in the African Studies Center, contact me, contact my colleague Denise in the BFSAA organization, and also Jose Jackson Malete in AAP. Wonderful. You see, Justin has just put up the information in the chat as well. That's information coming from the slide that he shared earlier on. So it's going to be really helpful to use that information to ask questions and to have your those questions answered and assistance with connecting with individuals who will be helpful for your respective projects. Lulu, anything on your end? Shall we wrap up? Take it back to Denise.
Okay. All right, we will proceed. Thank you very much, Dr. Colombo and Dr. Kaya. We appreciate your facilitating the questions and answers. And so, folks, in the true Michael Jackson form, we can never say goodbye, yet we must close our program for today. And Dr. Ashley Green, the Assistant Dean, International Studies and Programs at MSU, will offer closing remarks. Dr. Green.
Thank you for that welcome. Well, there's not really much left to say other than congratulations to all involved with creating and launching this phenomenal program. As we've all just heard, this is truly a promising platform to strengthen connections. And it's really incredible to see the campus collaboration between the Alliance for African Partnership, the Black Faculty, Staff, and Administrators Association, the MSU African Studies Center, the African American and African Studies Department, and the Diversity Research Network. Increasing our partnerships here on campus, but also expanding and crossing borders to increase and strengthening our partnerships across the globe has many rewards. And this is an opportunity to expand networks and increase cross-cultural contributions towards strengthening research, teaching, and outreach capacity. What really makes this program unique is the intentional combination of dialogue, professional development, joint projects, and outreach activity. Further, these type of initiatives are fundamental to developing our efforts around global diversity, equity, and inclusion in alignment with our World Grant identity, particularly due to our long-term and continuing strengths in international engagement. The Diverse Black Africa program will undoubtedly promote the success of globally competent and culturally aware researchers who co-create innovative solutions to global challenges that transform lives in their communities and globally. In ISP, it's our goal to produce globally competent students and culturally aware faculty and staff with skill sets and sensitivities that span across the globe. It's our aim to produce global citizens who take an active role, not just in their community, but in the world. As we know, global citizenship is more than just an act, it's a mindset. It's being aware of and understanding the wider world and your place and responsibility in it. It's making an impact on a small and large scale. And we know that a big part of producing global citizens is the work that we do around equitable partnerships. We strive to foster a community of global citizens to generate knowledge and to tackle global problems in ways that unleash local solutions in a world where borders are blurred. It's our goal to embrace an inclusive community of culturally competent faculty, staff, and students who see problems in society through a global lens. And programs like this does exactly that and provides a piece of the integral foundation that will allow us to move toward these goals. So on behalf of Associate Provost and Dean Steve Hansen, International Studies and Programs would like to thank the Office for Institutional Diversity and Inclusion for providing support for this program through the Inclusive Excellence Grant. To our MSU colleagues and our trusted partners in the AAP Consortium, thank you for your partnership. We very much look forward to the continued work with you and the outcomes and impacts that will be achieved through this program. Thank you all for your attendance today. And Dr. Troutman, I think I will turn it over to you unless that was the final word.
Yes, I can say just a few more things before we end up. Thank you very much, Dr. Green. We appreciate your being here and sharing those remarks with you. Thank you one and all for participating in our DBA launch and information session. We look forward to robust collaborations and interactions. We want to leave you with the words of the inimitable Angela Davis. And we hope that you take these words to heart as you construct your different proposals. I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I can no longer accept. Again, thank you for being here today. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.